Welcome to our very first episode of Clutch Time, where we bring you the hot topics in the sports world and let you know how we feel about it. I am Jeremy Culver.
And I'm Faron, excited to bring you our topics of all sports for you to enjoy. But first, let's get to some hot talk.
Quincy University's Hawk team is closing the season quickly. The team currently holds a 17-6 record with a 5-5 record on the road. Though a 500 record on the road is not awful, do you think this could be a problem with the postseason near?
Well, I think a lot of people are worried that it could be a problem, Jeremy. But again, it's the road. A lot of teams don't play their best on the road, and home is where they want to play their best. So going into postseason play, I think everybody's going to bring their play up, and it shouldn't be that much of a problem, especially as good as the team has been this year, and the losses that they have had on the road haven't been by a lot. They haven't been in many blowouts.
Yeah, if you really look at it, they're 5-5 on the road this year, which is not that bad. But then if you look at it, last season they were only 4-7 on the road. And then also when we went to the Elite Eight 2 seasons ago, we were 4-7 also. So I'd really think about, if you look at it, I mean, being 5-5 on the road is kind of scary, but it's not always that bad. A lot of the games are going to be on the road with the postseason, but hopefully they take some of that postseason play and make those road games actually home games. I mean, you got to think about it. The team has to deal with also the loss of Tyler Thompson.
Definitely, and I think that the team does have a lot of seniority this year, especially with Justin Brock, and he's leading the team along with Courtney Belger, and the team is very pumped and they're really excited to go at home, and I think they can definitely carry that into the postseason play.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of scares me is being 5-5. We haven't shown a consistent way to win on the road, and with a lot of the games, especially with NCAA tournament and the GLVC tournament, those games aren't going to be played at home very often. So we got to see how the team's going to respond going on the road and trying to make that game actually a home game.
It's going to be a tough road for the Hawks. It's the GLVC it's a tough conference. The standings are close. No team stands out above the rest. So we're just hoping that they can do their best and show up and play and have a good postseason. QU football was the only sport at Quincy University at the NAIA college level. Next season, they will be making the jump to Division II of the NCAA. After a 0-11 record 2 years ago and a 4-6 record this past year, and with new additions to the coaching staff now, will the team be able to successfully compete at the Division II level?
I'm not quite sold on this. I mean, I understand you're the only sport that's at the NAIA level at a Division II school, but when you look at the teams that we've had, it's not quite a comforting feel to think we're going to go to the Division II level and now all of a sudden compete. I mean, you got to believe that your team's going to start kicking some point, but going 0-11 2 years ago, as you talked about, and then also going only 4-6 last year, to think we're going to make a major impact in the Division II level, it's kind of iffy.
It is. It's a scary thought. But the school definitely wants to bring their lowest program up to the D2 level. And I know that the new head coach, Pagic, and all the players are very excited, and they think that they can do it and that they'll be confident and be able to have a successful season.
Well, the only problem, though, and this is just from looking at it, we have been at the NAIA level for so long. And you think about it, were the guys that are here currently in place, were they looked at to being at the Division II level? The schools that we're going to be playing against, some of them have already recruited for the Division II level, have been in the Division II level, and it's just kind of a thing of, is our players here currently, are they going to be able to be competing at that Division II level? Because as we all know, the NAIA is different from the Division II, and Division II is different from Division I.
Well, that's definitely a great point, Jeremy. Transition definitely won't be easy. We want to get there eventually, but getting there in the first place, it might be hard, and we might have a first couple rough seasons. But in the long run, I think we'll definitely be able to make it, especially with everybody pushing for it and the confidence and excitement that's going through everybody. I've talked to some of the players, actually, and they said that this past season, some of the teams that they lost to have beat Division II teams before. So having played against them already, they're pretty confident.
Yeah, it's a really good point. As we talked about last sport to move to the Division II level, let's talk about the only sport to be above it. The men's volleyball team is the only sport that plays at the Division I level, playing teams like Loyola University, Chicago, Ball State, and Ohio State University. Last year was a historical year for the team, but they still went only 3-9 in the conference play. Carl, does playing at the Division I hurt or help the team?
I think in the long run, Jeremy, it'll help the team. It gives us more competition, and it helps the school too, that we do have a sport at the higher level. It's making us a better team, and this past season, or so far this season, we've had a great record. I believe we're 9-2, and last year we also had a winning record. Granted, before that, the year that we had a winning record was in 2002, and that's a long stretch going without a winning record. But as of recently, we've been doing well.
Yeah, I was going to say that the last season we did have a winning record was in 2002. But if you look at it, we're 10-2 this year, but we've already dropped our first conference game. So it's not a big hope that we're going to be great in conference play. But I do like the fact that we are at Division I level. It is a good thing for the school. It brings a lot of players that you wouldn't normally get, because you get to say, hey, we play Ohio State, we get to play Loyola University, we play Ball State. The only thing that I'm kind of nervous about is how do we compete getting recruits that the Division I schools can get easily, because coming to Quincy University is not the same as saying, hey, we go to Ohio State, come play for us.
That's true, Jeremy. That's a real tough obstacle to overcome there, getting a kid to come to Quincy University versus Ohio State. I think it's going to be another long-run process again, and that we just need to establish ourselves and continually to keep growing. And once that we have got that establishment, that we're a strong program here, kids will want to come, and they'll want to play for Quincy University.
Yeah, I really do. Like I said, I like that we're at the Division I level. It's a good thing. It's a great thing for the university. I'm just hoping that in the long run we can get some of those players to come here versus the other schools, because you never want to see your school struggle at a sport. You always want to see them get better. And so, hopefully in the long run that's what's going to happen.
Now let's move on to some topics outside of the QU area. This past season in the NFL, Eli Manning has been a hot topic, whether he is among the elite quarterbacks currently playing in the game or not. Eli has just led the New York Giants to another Super Bowl victory over the Patriots while winning the MVP award as well. So we again ask the same question. Is Eli an elite quarterback, Jeremy?
Personally, I'm not sold on him. To be honest, it's come to a routine that a lot of experts always say, well, he shows up, he does a lot in the things, but he also seems to choke against the teams that he should beat. I mean, if you look at it, the last season, they entered the postseason 9-7, and a couple of those losses came in the final minutes against some teams that they should have just walked over. I will give him credit, though. He broke the record for the most fourth-quarter comebacks. He did win the Super Bowl. He was the MVP, played great in the Super Bowl versus Tom Brady. I'm just not 100% sold if we can call him elite. Top 10, I will say yes. But to be elite, that's top 5 to me. I think there's 5 players that are better than him.
That's a good point, Jeremy. I'm not sure if elite, we might have different definitions of elite. I might consider top 10 elite, and I would put Eli in the top 10 for sure, definitely. Top 10 of all time, maybe not, but definitely top 10 currently. He has broken that record for most fourth-quarter comebacks, and even though they were only a 9-7 record, I think going to go on into the postseason and win the Super Bowl over Tom Brady, who is clearly an elite quarterback, who has been there before with the Patriots, who are a force to be reckoned with, shows that he is among the elite quarterbacks.
Well, and that is a good point, because if you think about it, he had to go through Matt Ryan from Atlanta to get to the next level. He had to get through Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith, who is not a pushover this last season like most people think. And then going up against Tom Brady, who is seen as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. it is good that he's done all this and he's been able to go against them and knock them down. But to me, elite means you're cut above the rest. You're better than you can think of. And to me, I don't know if Eli is there just yet. He will be, but not just yet.
I might agree with you on that. I think that Eli is still young, and he's only got a couple years under his belt, but I think he's driven. He's tired of living in his older brother Peyton's shadow. He wants to be one of the elite quarterbacks. So I think in the future, Eli will definitely be one of the elite.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now let's get to the topic I've been eager to talk about all week. Tell me if this is a movie script to you. A man is named All-State in basketball, yet receives no scholarships to play anywhere. He goes to college and walks on to the team. He then leaves college as the school's 5th all-time leading scorer, and yet goes undrafted. He then spends some time in the semi-pro league before finally getting a call-up and scores 25 points off the bench. This is the story of Jeremy Lin, current starting point guard of the New York Knicks. The Knicks have been on fire with Lin at point guard. So, is Jeremy Lin a for real or a fad?
Well, there's no doubt that he's hot right now. He is on fire hot. 25 points off the bench in his first game, that's something to talk about. Now, to keep that up through the season, that's going to be tough. Jeremy Lin, he's got a big role to fill, but he's definitely a different player than some of the other All-Stars we see. LeBron, we talk about how LeBron is an All-Star, but he'll never win a championship. He'll always be a stats guy. He's always in it for himself. Lin, he's a team player, so he might not be in the highlights and top points every single time.
Yeah, and one thing, though, that I think just stood out to me is he scored 109 points in his first 4 starts in the league. That is the most ever in the NBA, above Allen Iverson in 2nd, Shaquille O'Neal in 3rd, and Michael Jordan in 4th. That is just outstanding to me. And also, if you look at it, his last 5 games, this is also including the game off the bench, he scored 25, 28, 23, 38, and 20. And the Knicks are 5-0 over that stretch. He is a great scorer, and also the assists are piling up at the same time. The only problem is, and I will say this because, as you said, it's hard to keep it over the season, Mike D'Antoni has been playing him a lot of minutes. In the game where he scored 28, he played 41 minutes straight without really getting a break. And so it's hard to see if he's going to keep that up.
We saw in his first game that although he had a great game, had a lot of points, he also had a lot of turnovers too. We're building him up so much right now. I think it's going to be on him to continue this, and he will fail, and it's going to be on him to pick himself back up and continue playing well. Now let's change the mood for a bit. Penn State has recently undergone school hardships that one can't even imagine, with the Sandusky scandal and firing of head coach Joe Paterno, followed by his sudden death. There's been a lot of despair. How does the football program recover from these tragedies and regain its status?
To be honest, it's hard to try to put into retrospect my own opinions on this because I've never had to go through some of these struggles. But the one thing that I think Penn State as itself should be able to overcome, they have to understand they're not going to get the top recruits as much anymore because everyone used to go there because they want to play under Joe Paterno. They want to play under the great coach. But now he's gone. So some of those recruits are now going to go elsewhere. But as the program gets to continue, Bill O'Brien is a great coach. It's a good pick for Penn State. Over time, they're going to start to get some of those recruits back. But at first, they got to understand it's going to be a little slow process.
I agree with that. They're definitely going to take a little bit of a hit, and more it's a publicity stint. They're going to take a hit, and it's going to be a negative publicity stint. But Bill O'Brien, how much better can you get than replacing Joe Paterno? Joe Paterno was there for over half a century, but now you have the offensive coordinator of the New York Patriots as your head coach. That sounds like a pretty good replacement to me. But to recover from this, I think that they just need to stay positive, put Sandusky behind them, and think of Paterno as only in a positive light. Don't keep dragging this on and bringing it back up that it's going to be weighing you down the whole time.
Yeah, he's definitely a thing. Look at it. Coach, it's the last season that they started a season without Joe Paterno at head coach, 1965. That's even double of what we've been alive for. So it's going to be a long process because you have to imagine some of the players there are still going to be upset that they came there for Joe Paterno and then he was fired, and now with his death, it's understandable that you can't bring him back. But if you look at schools like Alabama with Paul Bear Bryant, and you look at other schools with long tenured head coaches like Frank Beamer for Florida State, they're going to take a little time, they're going to take a hit, but they're going to get those players back that they started recruiting, and they're going to start getting success again. Now let's move on to our last opinion of the day in what we call our buzzer beater. Last week, Kobe Bryant scored 28 points against the Philadelphia 76ers and passed Shaquille O'Neal to be 5th all-time in points scored. As this accomplishment was major, and I congratulate him on this, a lot of debate has been brought up again whether Kobe is the best NBA player of all time. I may be biased, but I say no. Look, it's great for what he has accomplished and what he has meant to the league, but no one is better than the true MJ, Michael Jordan. I know Kobe is close in rings, but Jordan was MVP of the league 5 times to Kobe's 1, and been Finals MVP 6 times to Kobe's 2. Keep in mind, Jordan played against some of the greatest players of all time. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, you got to think of that. Of course, being one of them also. The accolades can go on for either, as both are great players and have achieved so much. But here's my last thought I want to leave you with. Can you say a man is the greatest of all time if he is still questioned on being the greatest player of his own team? And now here's Carl with his buzzer beater.
Thanks, Jeremy. I don't know about Kobe. He's still playing, so he's still got a chance, and he's still got some fire left in him. But I just want to leave you all with some motivation. In the Barclays Premier League, it does look like it's going to be another Man U, Man City season. They're at the top of the tier, far above everybody else in the ranks. But there's a reason that they're there. Yes, they have some of the best players in the world, but there's a reason that they're the best player in the world as well. They never give up. Just a week ago, Manchester United, who's one of the best teams currently in the world, was down 3-0 to Chelsea just after the first half. Now, in the soccer world, 3-0, that's a done deal. But Man U fought back in the remaining of the second half and came back to tie it up and still come away with points. Now, in soccer, in almost any sport, anything can happen on any given day. Just yesterday, Liverpool was playing Manchester United in the morning, and it was an even game up till the first half, but early on in the second half, Manchester scored 2 early goals, and Liverpool went down, and that, again, looks like another done deal. But 2-0 is a dangerous lead to have, especially at home. Liverpool, they gave up. They made Manchester look even better than they were actually playing. Late in the game, Manchester got an unlucky foul, and Liverpool served the ball in the box, and they put it away. Right then and there, it's a 2-1 game. We have a game on our hands again. But again, Liverpool, they didn't have the fight left in them. And we just want to stress that if they kept going, they could have made a game out of it. But Manchester fought back, and they continued to hold on to the win. We would like to thank you again for joining us on our first episode of Clutch Time. I'm Carl Faron.
And I'm Jeremy Culver. As we hit a break, be sure to check back in 2 weeks to see what else we have in store. Remember, it's not skill in the end, it's clutch. Good night, everyone.